Namaste, welcome to 𝗳𝗏 channel. Today we are here to discuss Gurukul TGT PGT career guidance session. Myself Dr. K. Anuradha, Head Department of Microbiology, 𝗵𝗏 Vivekananda College. Along with me, my colleague Dr. Y. Aparna is here to discuss this paper.
Yeah, hello, namaste. I am Dr. Aparna and I am from Department of Microbiology, 𝗵𝗏 Vivekananda College of Science, Humanities and Commerce. Today we are going to discuss about the preparedness, how we have to prepare for this Gurukula Udyoga examinations which are going to come in a short time.
So, you are here for preparation for this TGT PGT Gurukul guide. So, in this session we are going to cover paper 3 biological sciences. You all are aware that for this you need to prepare 3 papers. The first paper is for general studies, the second paper is for pedagogy, and the third paper is this particular paper, that is the biological sciences. In this paper you have got 10 units. So, you need to focus on all 10 units to score maximum, and you are aware also that this paper carries negative marking also, that is in 1:4 ratio. So, you have to be very careful while you are attempting this paper. So, as I said, it includes 10 units. I will be discussing some content and Dr. Aparna will be discussing some of the units. So, the first the title of the paper being biological sciences, the first unit is focusing on the biological sciences and its importance and human welfare. So, as it is an introductory topic, you will have branches of biology, biologists, reputed biological institutions in India, because it is very important before you enter into biology, you need to know different branches of biology. So, let us look into this first topic. The first topic is very broad. First, you need to understand the life, understanding the life, human health and medicine, agricultural applications and food security, conservation, biodiversity, environmental impact, biotechnology and innovations and technological advancements. If you carefully look into it, you will understand that these topics are nothing but categorized into 10 units of your syllabus biological sciences. So, from this unit you can expect certain questions with reference to general content. For example, the question may be asked, which of the following is a sustainable farming practice that aims to minimize the use of chemicals, synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. So, obviously, the other while attempting, you have to be very carefully looking into the options, and because if you eliminate the other answers, the correct answer you can arrive very easily. So, it is organic farming which eliminates synthetic chemicals. Then coming to the second topic, that is branches of biology, one need to know very clearly each branch deals with what. Say for example, genetics with the structure of gene, and molecular biology with DNA, RNA, and microbiology, study of microorganisms, etc. So, try list it out all the branches of biology and understand its importance and what for it is studied. Based on this particular thing, maybe a question can be asked like which branch of biology focuses on the study of animal behavior. So, you know zoology, botany, zoology with animals, botany with plants, physiology with various physiological activities. So, the correct answer would be the ethology. So, even the biologist's contributions, there is a possibility of asking a question. So, try knowing the contribution of biologists. What is that contribution that they have made for scientific world? You need to remember, better is to list out all the scientists' names and make their contribution and memorize it, so that one question, if it appears from this area, you can easily attempt. So, the question can be like, who developed the first successful polio vaccine? So, we know that Jenner has made a lot of contribution towards vaccination, but if you carefully look into it, it is Jonas Salk who developed the first vaccine for polio, and Alexander Fleming, of course, you know it is for penicillin discovery, and Louis Pasteur contribution for microbiology. And the third topic in unit 1 is all about biological institutions in India. and we need to know what are all the eminent scientific organizations and what are the reputed national level research institutes and where are they located, and what are all the list of institutions state wise you make it, so that you will not miss out any national institution which is working towards biological sciences. So, here is one question on biological institutions. Which institution in India is known for its research in DNA fingerprinting? So, being in Telangana, we know that CCMP, CDFD, we are very close to it. So, the correct answer is CDFD. Then the unit 2 is living world. Dr. Aparna will introduce the topic, and she will also give you some model questions on this unit.
Yeah. Hello everyone. So, I expect that you might have gone through the syllabus completely, and if you just look into the PPT part of it, the questions that are the unit that comprises of microorganisms, life and its characteristics, the classification of living organisms, and useful and harmful microorganisms. So, what we are going to deal in this second unit, the main thing that they are asking is, see, they are focusing on two aspects very clearly in the syllabus that is mentioned. One is about the characteristics and second one is about the classification part of it. So, be thorough, whatever the things that are mentioned there, be thorough with that. Say for example, viruses are asked. So, you need to discuss about, you need to study about the general characters of viruses, DNA viruses, RNA viruses and its classification system. Focus more on ICTV classification system with a special note. You have to remember the basic classification systems like LHT system and also Baltimore system. Similarly, if we speak about bacteria, you need to have a knowledge on what is Burgess manual, what are the main criteria that are selected for classifying the organisms. Same is the case with algae, fungi and also protozoa. And above all, the topic also, the unit also asks for useful and harmful microorganisms. So, when it is asked for useful and harmful microorganisms, what I suggest you people is list down what are the useful beneficial aspects of microorganisms, like what role it plays in food industry, in pharmaceutical industry, in diagnostics, etc. So, you can list down everything and make a note of everything, so that it will be easy for you when you are preparing for your examinations. Secondly, when you are speaking about harmful microorganisms, do focus on the diseases, and what I suggest you more is, see, recent epidemic outbreaks are there. So, you can expect some questions on the recent epidemic outbreaks also, like Nipah virus, Ebola virus, COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2. So, some bacterial outbreaks are there very recently, typhoid outbreak. So, have a knowledge on all these things. So, go through the current affairs also when you are looking for harmful microorganisms and the diseases caused also. So, I will quickly list you down some of the questions that are being asked. So, if you look into the questions that are being, the biological questions that are being asked in the PPT, it is very clearly mentioned that regions where the species diversity is in abundance is called. So, what you call them as? They are termed as biodiversity hotspots. And the second question focuses on what is the basic unit of life. Need not be always that we should only discuss, we should go into the details of the topic. Mostly in competitive examinations, you should have a basic knowledge of the things and a thorough knowledge of the things. So, have grip on basics, you will answer very well. So, the basic unit of life is obviously the cell. And coming to the third model question, the following statement is false statement for algae. So, you can see, read the question very carefully when it is given in the question paper. What is asked, you check it, whether it is a true statement he is asking or a false statement he is asking. So, in confusion generally we go for, we see the statements and then we answer it wrongly in a span of time out of tension and other things. But read the sentence very, very carefully. Here the question is asked like the following statement is false statement. So, what is the false statement in the options listed below? It is a symbiotic relationship of an algae and virus. Actually, lichen is not a symbiotic relationship between algae and virus. These words are tricky. It is between algae and fungi. So, that is how you have to read the question, then it will be cool for you for writing the exams. And another important model question is fungi that causes dermatomycosis. So I told there is harmful microorganisms. So harmful microorganisms, the diseases that are caused. So here the answer will be all the above. It includes everything. And another model question, the process by which a virus enters into a host cell. When we are studying about the characteristics, because he mentioned about characteristics as well as classification. So when he is asking about characteristics and classification, the examiner expects that you know a basic knowledge of what, how a virus behaves. So or how a virus enters into the cell. It enters by a process termed as endocytosis. So, and this question is from classification part of it. Which of the following is a retrovirus? So when the question is asked for a retrovirus, you can also go for a ruling out mechanism also, and here the answer is HIV, which belongs to the family Retroviridae family. So if you don't know the answer also, just rule out the mechanisms and then rule out the options that are there, and you will arrive at the correct answer also. So coming to the last one, which among the following are considered as biological war weapons? I told you we need to be updated with the current affairs also, and the options given are Bacillus thuringiensis, Bacillus anthrax, Ebola virus, Marburg virus, and all the above. So the option is all the above because all of them are biological war weapons. So we need to know about the general terminology, we need to know about the scientific terms and keep updated yourselves with the current affair knowledge also. Now in the unit 3, okay, one more question is there in the unit 2. So let us see on the unit 2 question, that is identify the incorrect pair. See the type of questions that are asked. So we try to put all probable types of asking the questions also. So here you need to understand what is the incorrect pair. It is not asking what is the correct pair. So we also know that Saccharomyces is used in ethanol production, Penicillium chrysogenum is an antibiotic which produces penicillin, Corynebacterium glutamicum produces glutamic acid. So what is the incorrect answer here? Staphylococcus aureus producing citric acid is a incorrect answer here. So that is how you have to look for some model questions also.
So the next unit in our paper is cells and tissues. This we have been studying from class 10, class 12 also, but still if you look into the NCERT books, you will get a better knowledge because concept wise very strongly it has been built at a schooling level itself. So you can refer NCERT books for such fundamental topics like cells and tissues. So here both plant as well as animal tissues and plant and animal cells, one need to know it, like structure and functional unit of life and prokaryotic, eukaryotic cells. I will tell you here that prokaryotic cell take bacteria as reference and study in detail, and for eukaryotic cell both plant cell and animal cell study in detail. Because we are studying more about cytology over here, we need to know how a cell divides. So concentrate even on mitotic cell divisions and meiotic cell divisions. And as I mentioned, the different types of tissues with reference to plant as well as animals, we need to know it. And again here the content is very much, so you need to underline things, you need to make a note of it, write keywords, have different practices which makes you to memorize certain of these things. Sometimes they may ask you technical questions, sometimes direct questions. So you need to focus on this because this is a very fundamental, we are studying from schooling. So I think whatever you attempt, it should be the right answer. Then coming to the some of the model questions with reference to cells. So during the which phase of the cell cycle does DNA replication occurs? Like the answer is S phase. Then the second question from the same topic, that is from cell divisions. Which of the following is a characteristic of meiosis but not mitosis? So here you need to know all the phases of mitosis, all the phases of meiosis, and identify the difference between the mitosis and meiotic cell divisions. So synapses and crossing over is a characteristic feature of meiosis but not mitosis, whereas the other three refers to the mitotic cell divisions. So which of the following cell lack a distinct nucleus? So, is a direct question again. So, the prokaryotic cell, eukaryotic cell, both prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell, none of the above. So, you have to be answering carefully. We know very well that the prokaryotic cell lack distinct nucleus, it has got chromatin material, whereas in eukaryotic it is not, but however, the third option is both prokaryotic and eukaryotic. So, we have to specify the correct answer only. So, the correct answer would be the A, that is prokaryotic cell. Then as I mentioned earlier, different types of questions will be asked, like true or false statements, correct incorrect pairs and all. So, here is a question whether the statement is correct or not. So, here the question asked is statement is identify the statement which is not a true statement. So, major constituent of bacterial cell wall is peptidoglycan, and generally when they make such things, all the questions may be referring to one particular topic. It becomes advantage if you cover the topic, you can very well answer. So, here the question is all about the peptidoglycan content. So, the major constituent of bacterial cell wall is peptidoglycan, which is a correct statement. Penicillin is an antibiotic which interferes with cell wall synthesis, that is also a right answer. Gram positive cell walls has a thicker peptidoglycan compared to the gram negatives, that is also correct. Peptidoglycan is totally absent in gram negative bacteria, which is a wrong answer, because we know that it is having low content but not totally absent. So, the correct answer here is the peptidoglycan is absent in gram negative bacteria is a false statement. Then coming to the plant cell biology, xylem and phloem are examples of vascular tissues. You know meristematic is growing tissue. So, you know about all types of tissues, then you can pick up the right answer very easily. So, the next question is, the next topic of your syllabus is plant world, and over to Aparna.
Yeah. So, let us discuss about this plant world. So, if you go see into the syllabus part of it, what does this plant world comprises of? It comprises of three aspects. One, it deals with the structural details of it, like morphology of a typical plant. So, we need to be thorough about the root, stem, leaf, flower, inflorescence part of the plant, and we need to know about their structure and what are the different modifications that are there in the plant. And the second aspect deals with the photosynthesis, transpiration, respiration part of it, and all the physiological aspects of the plant. And the third aspect deals with the economic importance of the plant. So, here in this topic, when you are discussing about, when you look into this unit completely comprises of the plant related things. So, you need to know about the botany part of it. So, if you refer to the intermediate textbooks, especially the first year Telangana State Intermediate textbook or NCERT textbooks of 11th and 12th, so the detailed information with the basic level is covered in those textbooks. Have a thorough knowledge on what are the different types of root modifications, different types of stem modifications, what leaf modifications are there, what is the economic importance of plant, what should be the yield of the plant, and also what I suggest you here is, when you are discussing about the photosynthesis, respiration and other things, just make a note of it, make a keyword or do some concept mapping, so that it will be easy for you when you are going for the examination. So, with one glance you will be able to understand, like for example, if it is a photosynthesis C3, C4, and in respiration you have to look into the glycolysis, Krebs cycle, electron transport chain, how much ATP are produced, how many NADPH are used. So, all these aspects you just note it as a keyword, and at the same time do concept mapping for such topics. So, if you do concept mapping, it is easy for you when you go for the examinations. Now, let us quickly go through some of the model questions that can come for this topic. So, first, coming to the first question, which of the following is a stem modification for vegetative propagation? As I mentioned you have to study the different modifications. So, the example is bulb. So, we know petiole, midrib and stigma, we have studied the parts of the plant, flower and leaf. So, we can easily identify that bulb is the modification. So, coming to the second question, what is the net gain of ATP molecules during glycolysis? When such question is given, be very clear what he is asking, whether he is asking for net gain of ATP or how many ATP are produced during glycolysis, or what he is asking, how many reducing equivalents are produced. You be very clear in reading the question what he is asking for. So, here the net gain of ATP is only 2. Now, coming to the third type of model question, which plant hormone is responsible for promoting leaf senescence and abscission? So, this is the last component in your syllabus paper in unit 4 syllabus that is covered. So, have a list out what are the different plant hormones that are there and have a knowledge on particular thing, have a grip on that thing. So, when it comes to this question, it is ethylene that is responsible for promoting the leaf senescence. And coming to the next question, which of the following is an example of viral disease in crops? It's not only important you study the economic importance, you need to understand about what are the different types of diseases that are caused in the plants and what type of organisms cause it. Sometimes when you study the question, in the question itself there will be the answer also. Here he is asking viral disease in crops. Just go through the options that are given there. So, one is given as rhizoctonia and the other, it is in the options it is clearly mentioned as tomato virus. The name itself has it. So, sometimes it will be misleading and it will be tricky also. Just look into that, you will get the answer very clearly. Now, coming to the next question that is there. Yeah.
So, over to unit 4. Next unit, just now in unit 4 we got into botany, that is plant sciences. So, the next unit is consecutively coming up is the animal world, that is zoological sciences. So, zoology related questions, again this is all about organs and organ systems including man. So, in organs and organ system, you need to understand the complete anatomy of the organ and what are the various functions. Say for example, it is circulatory system, you need to know about blood vessels, veins, arteries, heart, etc. Excretory system, about how the kidney functioning is, and even the related questions with reference to excretory system, nervous system, respiratory, etc. So, it is a very direct questions may come from this, but sometimes advanced questions may be asked with reference to the recent developments that are taking place in with reference to organs and their systems. The reproduction is the next major content of this unit, where the need for reproductive health, prevention of sexually transmitted diseases, what are different birth control measures, what are the contraceptions that methods, all this we will be looking into this unit, that is the animal world. So, the questions may be, as I mentioned, the organs and organ systems. You need to study completely about the organ, so that you can answer thoroughly whatever the question is asked. So, here again the question is choose the correct combination. So, whenever combinations are given, there is a possibility that they are mispaired. So, you have to be very carefully studying both left and right, you have to match, and whether it is correctly matched or not you should be seeing. So, the first option given here is left atrioventricular valve as tricuspid valve, but we know it is a bicuspid valve. And similarly, the largest blood vessel, of course, largest blood vessel is the aorta. Then normal blood pressure, we all know that it is 120/80 or so, but here you have to keep in mind whether they are asking systolic by diastolic or diastolic by systolic. Like that, whenever correct combinations are asked, there may be little tricky, they may be making systolic by diastolic or by diastolic by systolic. So, spare some time to mark the correct answer. Smallest vein as vena cava, but we know it is the largest vein. So, here the correct combination they are asking, therefore, the correct answer will be largest blood vessel like aorta. In this correct combinations, you should have, if you have full concept clear, and within that stipulated time you are able to pick up the right answer, because time management is also very important in competitive exams. So, you need to answer all 100 questions, even though there is negative marking, whatever you are confident of, you should mark it as a correct answer, so that you are getting full marks are there. Wherever probable answers are there, of course 25% loss is there, but as content of questions you should be doing it correctly. Then the purpose of amniocentesis is to, this is again the process based question. So, this is to determine whether for baby gender or to induce labor or to monitor baby's growth or to assess the risk of genetic disorders. We know the answer as the assess to risk the genetic disorders, especially Down syndrome and all. You are able to identify this process, amniocentesis. Then the other questions from this, because birth control and other topics are included in this. The question asked here is, in 𝗧, where is the fertilization process performed in? Fallopian tubes, uterus, vagina, cervix. So, the correct answer is fallopian tubes. So, all these fertilization techniques, you please be clear whatever are there in the syllabus, thoroughly you understand the abbreviation full form and also what is the process, fertilization process referring to. And here comes a question from sexually transmitted diseases. We all are aware of sexual transmitted diseases, but they are both bacterial, viral. So, you have to be careful, read the question. Here the question is bacterial infections. So, tuberculosis, syphilis, rabies, AIDS, these are the combinations given. So, it is a bacterial. So, the correct answer is syphilis. Say for example, if it is viral, your choice would be AIDS. Then over to Aparna. I think we are done with 5 units. The 50% of the paper is done. Let us move on to the remaining 50%.
So, coming to the 6th unit, if we go, if we look into the syllabus part of it, what is there in the 6th unit? The 6th unit mainly comprises of sense organs. In sense organs, we need to study about the anatomy of the sense organs, the structure and function of different sense organs like eye, ear, nose, tongue and skin. And the second aspect includes nutrition in man. So, when he is asking about the nutritional aspects in man, so here we have to have a knowledge on what is digestive system and how the absorption of the nutrients takes place inside the body. So, you need to study about the complete digestive system, and we also have to focus in this unit on nervous system, and we also should focus on respiration. And not only that, here the syllabus also specifies about wild and domesticated animals, what are the different wild animals, what are different domesticated animals, and all the aspects. So, here the unit not only asks for complete human physiology and anatomy part of it, it also asks for the extra aspects of it also that are there in this. So, I suggest you all to go through the details of the anatomy of the human beings, not into the deeper level like how a MBBS doctors studies, but you should know about the basic physiology and basic anatomy of our own body. So, that is what the exam paper was set, and the syllabus was also set as per the same thing. Say for example, nutrition, different types of nutrients, that are required for the body, what are the macronutrients required, what are the micronutrients required, and sometimes we need to also understand about what are some trace elements that are required by the body. Recently we are looking for, there are people suffering with vitamin deficiencies like vitamin D deficiency, vitamin B12 deficiency is a common disorder that is seen nowadays. So, here we have an aspect on vitamins also, the growth factors, the nutrients, everything you have to cover into this. Apart from this, it also, the unit also covers on different disorders that are there in human beings, like how blindness is caused in human beings, so how it can be rectified, what nutritional aspects are required. So, all these things you have to cover in this particular unit. So, whatever the topic that is given, if the topic is mentioned in the syllabus, what I suggest you is just go through that part, whatever is mentioned. Suppose he is mentioning about health agencies, there is one small term called as health agencies. You should never skip out of that words also. questions may come from even health agencies. What are the different health agencies? We know in the recent pandemic we have come across different terms, WHO, CDC, NIH. So questions may come from that also. Don't leave one single word also that is specified in the syllabus. So that is the most important way of preparing for a competitive examination. Even you know a little knowledge also, but that will help you in when you are answering the multiple choice questions. So don't leave one single word also in the syllabus uncovered. Okay. So let us look into the different questions that can be asked from this unit. So the first question that can be asked, if you see the question is, which food group is a good source of calcium among the options given below? So when the question is asked like that, what is a good source of calcium? So we know it right from the childhood. Parents will be telling drink milk, drink all day, eat curd. So it's a good source of calcium. So sometimes what we hear from our parents also help us in answering the questions well. Don't neglect that part also. So the answer for this is dairy products. If you see the other options where fruits and vegetables, grains and cereals, meat and poultry, so all have little amount of the thing that is asked, but the question is asking which will have more. Okay. So next. The second question is, megaloblastic anemia is caused by the deficiency of. So there are different types of anemia. Whenever we speak about anemia, people have a general assumption it's only iron deficiency. It need not be always iron deficiency. There is an autoimmune disorder which is called as hemolytic anemia. There is a vitamin B12 deficiency disorder which we call it as pernicious anemia. So when the term has come, just dig into the surrounding whatever the things that are associated with it also. So here he is asking about megaloblastic anemia is caused by the deficiency of. It is caused by the deficiency of folic acid. So I told you in the syllabus he is asking about what are the nutritional requirements for the body, what are the trace elements that are required for the body, what are major, what are minor nutrients. So you segregate them and read as such so that you can answer the questions in a correct way. And the third question is, the following eye disorder is characterized by the increased pressure in the eye. So a question, a subheading is also there in the syllabus. What does the syllabus says? That you need to study about blindness in the humans, how blindness is caused in the humans. So different options are given like retinal detachment, cataracts, glaucoma and muscular degeneration. So the option here is glaucoma. So expect the questions from every topic. Here we could cover only a few model questions for you, but you need to expect the questions from each and every topic that is mentioned. So another question here, as I told you, one small word is mentioned, health agencies. So you cannot claim tomorrow that this is not there in the syllabus, it is there. So what is the question asking? The health agency which primarily focuses on maternal and child health, nutrition and education worldwide is. We know there are so many organizations that work with related to the health, and the main things are WHO, that is World Health Organization, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, National Institute of Health. But this particular organization, that is United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, so UNICEF, this especially focuses on child health, nutrition and child education worldwide. How should you position a person who has been bitten by a snake bite? In your syllabus, there is one topic, that is first aid to be given to the animals, animal bites. Okay. Say for example, he has mentioned some type studies also, like scorpion bite if it is there, what measures has to be taken, snake bite if it is there, what measures has to be taken, if ticks and mites bites, then what type of hypersensitive reactions occur. So all these things are given. So that question gives the option like how you have to place the person when there is a snake bite. Always remember, when there is a snake bite, you should position them with the bite area lower than the heart so that it doesn't ascend faster into the body. So that is how you need to study about each and every aspects that are there in the syllabus. So don't leave that words. What I mean to say here, what I mean to suggest here is, don't leave even if it is a single word also. Remember that 1 mark makes a difference between the person who qualifies and who doesn't qualify. So why should we neglect one word, and why we should take a risk of that? Read every word, make some keywords, make some concept mapping for each and every word that is mentioned in the syllabus. It doesn't take much time for you if you have a good plan of action. Good plan of action in the sense means a syllabus is given. From the syllabus, try to make mind mapping or conceptual mapping, or just note down the keywords. For each and every topic, you note down the keywords that are very, very important. If you just look at the keyword, you should be able to recall the whole topic. That is how you have to study, especially for competitive examinations. That too, once you finish your studying, you need to give some buffer time for revision, because whatever you study, it should go into the mind, and you should be able to recollect during the exam. You should be able to recollect during the examinations also. So that is the reason why you have to study about the words that are mentioned. So till now we have covered the 60% of the biological sciences, and coming to the next unit, that is unit 7. So let's see what is there in unit 7 and how the questions come from unit 7.
So if you look into the syllabus again, we have covered botany, zoology, cytology, physiology, and different components of biological sciences. Keep in mind, this biological sciences is mixture of all sciences topics of biology. So you have to focus on different branches. In the very first unit, I told you different branches of biology. So here comes about environment. So in our environment, this topic, biotic, abiotic factors and ecosystem. So this topic, you need to know what are biotic factors and abiotic factors, and natural resources like renewable, alternative resources, non-renewable resources. So even though they are fundamental, but definitely now the concern is all about environment. Worldwide, globally, everybody is talking about environmental issues. We know how much the environment is being polluted, and even the topic like pollution is being included in this, like air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, and sound pollution. In addition to that, the wildlife conservation, what are the different sanctuaries we have, what are different national parks located in every state. We need to know about all this. And most importantly, the global environmental issues. This is the topic of the day, that everybody, irrespective of the domain, people are worried about the environmental issues. So you have to concentrate more on this topic, environmental issues, that is the global warming and acid rains and the depletion of ozone layer and the scarcity of water. All are major concerned environmental issues. So make a note, a paragraphic note on all these issues. What are the government initiatives at central level and state level, and what are the different mechanisms they are opting for our environment. All these things also you need to focus on. Then we have made some model questions over here. So the first question is, which of the following is mainly responsible for cause of water pollution? So here the question is asked from water pollution, but you also write some questions on air as well as sound, etc. So here the answer is oil refineries and paper industries. So these are the two possible answers. So sometimes they may ask you multi correct answers. So it's not, they will mention in the question paper they are single correct answers or multi correct answers. So if multi correct answers are there, you have to be very carefully choosing more than one correct answer, okay, because it's not always one single correct answer. But if at all they are giving multi correct answers, they will mention in the instructions. So you have to be carefully reading it, whether it is a multi correct answer or a single correct answer. Then coming to the next question, that is the about greenhouse gases. So, we know global warming and greenhouse effect. This is very important issue, because we think that these gases, if they are more in environment, they are going to cause some harmful effect and all. But the thing is, these greenhouse gases, these are all heat trapping gases, you call it. So, methane, nitrous oxide, water vapor, all three are important greenhouse gases which make your climate stable. So, the correct answer for this is all three, that is methane, nitrous oxide and also the water vapor. So, one question is coming from renewable and non-renewable resources. So, understand what is renewable, what is non-renewable. Here the natural energy source for the renewable, exhaustible natural energy source is been asked. So, it is coal, petroleum, kerosene, biomass. These are the options given. We know that all the other three are non-renewable. Here the correct answer is the biomass. So, just understand the definition and pick up the correct answer, because some are very direct answers where you can consume time, and some are you need to spend more time for that particular question. So, you have to quickly answer such questions which are direct. Okay. One among the next question here given is about the sanctuaries. The Chilka Lake Bird Sanctuary is in. So, which state it is there? So, Odisha is the right answer over there. And similarly, you list out all sanctuaries related to the birds, animals, etc. Then here comes this biogeochemical cycles also. I said the greenhouse effect and all is there. So, you need to know what are the different chemical cycles, biogeochemical cycles like carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, phosphorus cycle, and what are the different enzymes involved in it, how does this cycle works out for the maintenance of sustainable environment. So, here comes the nitrogen fixation. This is very important in agricultural biology. The questions from nitrogen fixation and nitrogen cycle probably is asked. If you look into the previous question papers also, you will understand the importance of these biogeochemical cycles, especially nitrogen fixation. Learn completely genetics of it, biochemistry of it, and how this nitrogen fixation, nitrogen cycle takes place, understand. Here the questions given are two enzymes are given, because the question is enzymes involved in it. So, here if you know all the enzymes what for they are meant. So, nitrogenase is paired. We all know that nitrogen is very much essential, but we also should know what is the paired enzyme which is actually making the answer correct or wrong. So, it is given hydrogenase, hexokinase, peptidase and hydrolysis. We know that this nitrogen fixation requires the hydrogenation, that is the oxidation step. So, we must require hydrogenase enzyme, that is how you have to pick up, because nitrogenase is commonly there. So, you have to eliminate the answers from that of the hexokinase, peptidase and hydrolysis. If you know the catalytic activity of this enzyme, you can easily pick up the correct answer. Then the next unit is all about the genetics, very important this genetics aspect. I think Aparna will give you glimpses of this unit.
Yeah. So, when we see into the topics that are listed down in Unit 8, Unit 8 mainly comprises of many aspects that are related to heredity. Okay, so heredity and evolution. So, if just have a quick look of the topics that are there listed in the syllabus, and it tells about heredity and genetics and what are the multiple alleles that are there. So, here he has especially emphasized, look into the topics very carefully, he has specially emphasized on multiple alleles, that is inheritance of blood groups and RH factor. So, in that the dominance part is blood groups is taken as a example, and here also it also tells about the elementary idea of polygenic inheritance, how the skin color is seen in humans, how the sex determination takes place in humans, and how the sex linked inheritance leads to certain types of diseases like hemophilia, sickle cell anemia, cystic fibrosis, and it also focuses on chromosomal disorders like Down syndrome, Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndromes. And apart from all these things, a little bit of modern approach that is there is also added in the syllabus, like Human Genome Project. So, when it is spelled about the Human Genome Project, it is a pride in the science that it is a biggest breakthrough in the science, that is sequencing of the complete human genome. Don't leave such topics. It's one of the breakthrough discoveries in the field of science. That is how the field of bioinformatics has emerged. You might have been seeing now today computational biology, bioinformatics. So don't leave such topics if it is given. It took 15 years for sequencing the complete genome. So that is a very important breakthrough in the science. Go through that, what is Human Genome Project, who are involved in Human Genome Project, which countries are involved in the Human Genome Project. So all that things you please look into that. Okay. Apart from that, there is one more aspect that is covered in this topic, that is variations. In variations, you know what a variation is. We have been studying right from our schooling, that is 8th, 9th and 10th classes, why variations are very important. Please go through that, why variations are important. And in that variations also they have mentioned two specific topics, mutations and recombinations. So have a thorough knowledge on what a mutation is, what are mutagens, what is a physical mutagen, chemical mutagen, biological mutagen. Some examples you remember. Sometimes with just the word, if you understand the word, you can answer the question. Physical mutagen, UV lights, X-rays, like that. Chemical mutagen, it is chemical in origin. Please go look into the word and try to understand the things. Don't mug up the things. If you just mug up the things, you cannot answer the questions, you cannot remember the questions properly. So you have to go with the logic. Chemical mutagen, ethidium bromide is an example, some dyestuffs, food coloring agents. So these all things comes under chemical mutagens. Biological mutagens, it is oncogenic viruses, the viruses that induce transformation. So these are some of the keywords. I am just telling you keywords. So understand the meaning of the word and try to answer the question. So different types of mutations. What are the different types of mutations that can take place? Point mutations, substitutions. So all these things you can make a list of mutations. And apart from that, recombination events. So what are the different types of recombination events, how it leads to variations, how it leads to the emergence of a new species. So all these things you have to make a list of the things. Write down the side headings of different recombination events that are there. Write one example, keep it with it. So before exam, if you just go through it, it just takes 1 minute for you to go through the things. So like that you have to prepare for each and every topic that is mentioned in this unit 8. It's a very important topic. So let us see some questions that are there mentioned, that are there given as model questions. So how many phenotypes can occur in the human blood group ABO with alleles IA, IB and I? We have framed this as a model question because in the syllabus they have specifically mentioned the blood groups and the dominance. Okay. So that's why you can expect some questions with just by using some logic also. What questions can be expected? You can expect certain things. So here the answer is 4. So AB and O blood group system. Carl Landsteiner discovered these blood groups, and this is how the population is categorized into 4. And also in the syllabus it is mentioned that RH factor decides whether the person is a positive blood group or a negative blood group. Also a little small information, deviations you have to look into it, like what is why blood transfusions are required, what is erythroblastosis fetalis condition, a little deviations from the topic, a little add-ons from the topic you need to focus on. So if you prepare in that way, I'm sure you can answer all the questions very nicely. And coming to the next question, cystic fibrosis. So there are certain inherited diseases also. So they are mentioned in your syllabus also. So go through those things. So you can read extra things, but at the same time whatever is mentioned in the syllabus, don't neglect that. Okay. So cystic fibrosis is a sex-linked dominant disorder, sex-linked recessive disorder, autosomal dominant disorder or autosomal recessive disorder. The answer is autosomal recessive disorder. Now, coming to the next question that is given in the next model question that is there, here the activity of one gene is suppressed by the activity of a non-allelic gene. It is termed as, what it is termed as? So, it is termed as epistasis. So, Mendelian genetics you need to study it in detail. So, it's his, you know, he is the father of genetics, and it is very, 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 very important to understand the logic of Mendelian genetics. Okay, don't just go by definitions and don't just go by the things. Understand why he has selected the pea plants, why he has selected that particular characteristics. If you understand that basic knowledge, you can answer any toughest question that is given from that particular topic. So, one question here from the mutations. UV light on DNA induce. I told, when you are studying about mutations, you need to study about physical mutagens, chemical mutagens, and biological mutagens. Each will exhibit their own mode of action. So, like this is a physical mutagen, that is a UV light. What does it do? Whenever it falls on the DNA, when two thymine dimers are present adjacent to each other, it forms a bond, it breaks the bond between adenine and thymine and forms a bond between two thymines that are there. So, that is how thymine dimers are formed. So, when we are studying about that particular thing, how it forms, what mutation it causes. So, look into that aspect. And what is this is a direct question. What is the genotype of Klinefelter syndrome? So, the answer is, it's a direct question, it is 44 plus XXY chromosome. So, coming to the unit 9, it tells about evolution and theories of evolution.
Okay, now we are moving from little simpler to complex, not exactly complex, from fundamentals to advanced topics. Okay. So, having studied genetics, of course, even it has got little impact even in this unit. We need to understand the different theories that have been proposed in the evolutionary aspects. So, the origin of life, biological evolution, both different types of biological evolutions, what are the theories that put forward of evolutions like Lemakism, Darwinism. So, the question may come from these theories related to the evolution and mutational theory of 𝗂𝗽𝗎. So, these components you have to focus, and the modern synthetic theory of evolution is also one important aspect. In previous question papers, if you see, some questions coming up from this modern synthetic theory of evolution, emphasizing on Hardy-Weinberg law. This is very important to understand this concept, how the genotype is being constantly maintained and how its expression is being maintained constantly. Generally, the frequency of the genotypic expression is constant, because the theory itself talks about Hardy-Weinberg law of equilibrium. Okay, here unless until there is an interference of drift, genetic drift or mutational this thing, you need to get into these things. And the types of natural selections, adaptive and human evolution, and different types of speciations like allopathic, sympatric and reproductive isolation. So, all that is about evolutionary aspects, you have to focus on it and thoroughly you prepare choosing a proper evolution textbook for this. And the question here asked is on Lemakism. Which of the following examples would be consistent with principles of Lemakism? So, a weightlifter developing muscular children, a giraffe neck lengthening due to the stretching to reach leaves, a bird developing wings after generations of climbing trees, a flower color changing due to genetic mutations. If you actually look into each statement refers to one aspect of evolution, but we need to talk about the principle of Lemakism. So, the correct answer is giraffe's neck lengthening due to the stretching to reach leaves. Then the next question is about reproductive isolation. So, inability of organisms to adapt to the environment, physical separation of two populations in a geographic barriers, the development of distinct reproductive barriers between populations, the process of genetic mutation occurring within population. See, sometimes what happens is the statements are lengthy. You have to read it and understand and point out the correct answer. So, the development of distinct reproductive barriers between the populations is the right answer. So, the survival of the fittest, talking about the theories again. So, the physical strength and dominance of individuals in population, ability of organisms to adapt to any environment, and the natural process of individuals with advantageous traits surviving and reproducing, and the intentional selection of traits by humans in domesticated plants and animals. So, the correct answer is number 3, that is the natural process of individuals with advantages of traits. Then the next question is about the genetic evidence for biological evolution is based on. This is a very clear question, whether it is occurrence of genetic mutations or the presence of identical genes across the different species, analyzing the DNA sequences and genetic similarities, absence of genetic diversity within a species. So, the right answer is analysis of DNA sequences. So, the next question is again, as I mentioned, Hardy-Weinberg law about the equilibrium and the genetic genotype expression. So, the population is undergoing genetic drift, population is experiencing high mutational rate, the population is in equilibrium, the population is undergoing strong natural selection. So, here it is they are undergoing the natural selection, because I said there are various genetic traits like genetic drift, mutational, they are all, unless they interfere, they do not bring about the change in this thing. Next question, next unit is unit 10. This is a simple topic about applied biology, talking about different techniques, the biomedical technologies and the applied biology applications. So, this topic is mainly about the analytical devices and biomedical technology.
Yeah. So, when we look into the 10th unit, so it completely comprises of the applied part of it. So, what does it involves? So, the applied part involves the complete applications of the biology. It is not simply that we understand what are the anatomy, what is the physiology and how they function and what diseases they cause. We need to, unless and until we apply the knowledge in the form of technology, that will be of no use. Now, just let us look into the details of the topics that are there. So, applied biology, it discusses about the applications of biology in animal husbandry, apiculture, pisciculture, poultry management, dairy management and animal breeding, and it also specifies about biomedical technology, that is how different things are diagnosed. Now, we know there are so many diagnostic centers set up. Once upon a time there was no technology and we are not able to understand the disease that is underlying, but we have now today X-rays, CT scans and MRIs which can detect any condition inside the body. So, that is one aspect of it, and the next is biotechnological application. So, what are the applications of biotechnology, be it a gene therapy or be it a stem cell therapy or some of the techniques that are used in the biotechnology like ELISA, which is a very well known technique for identifying the specific types of diseases. So, all these applications of biology, please list it down. So, it will be easy for you to answer the questions. So, and some of the other applications of biology also he is specifying, like vaccine production and human insulin production. We know that insulin is very costly once upon a time. Now, with this intervention of this genetic recombinations and genetic engineering, the price is accessible to even a normal person also. So, that is the importance of technology, and all these aspects of studies about the all this applied part tells about the applications of technology. So, let us quickly go through the questions that are there, and the first question that tells about the applications of biotechnology. Some model questions we have prepared. So, it is the goal of animal breeding is, what is the goal of animal breeding and what is it often referred to as? The answer here among the four is improve the specific traits such as productivity, health or temperament. And the second model question is from biomedical technology. So, what does it actually mean? Sometimes a direct question also can be asked. So, it includes among the options that are given, the answer is the application of engineering and technology in healthcare is biomedical technology. Sometimes the answers will be misleading and we may be looking all sounds correct, but actual definition of it or actual meaning of it we should be able to understand it. And The third question is on gene therapy. So, what is this gene therapy can be accomplished by? So, the gene therapy can be accomplished by all the above. See, you need to understand about what gene therapy is. See here the options that are there: replacing the faulty genes with functional copies, introducing the new genes into a person's cells, inactivating or silencing the specific genes. All these things are the mechanisms that are there in the gene therapy. So, the answer here is all the above. Sometimes in such questions we do wrong statements like we know only one answer, the rest we may not be knowing. So, we assume that we have ticked it correctly, but here the mechanism you should understand it very clearly. It is all the above. And coming to the next question that is there, it is oncogenes are genes that promote cell division and growth, inhibit tumor formation, repair DNA damage and prevent cell death. You have a topic called as cancer biology in the 4th unit. So, you need to know about what are oncogenes, what are tumor suppressor genes, what is the function they do inside the body, what will happen if one regulation is lost, what happens if oncogene regulation is lost or tumor suppressor genes is lost. At least try to know some genes that are there in the current literature like P53, BRCA genes and other things. So, and the last question, last model question, it is ELISA can be used to detect the presence of. This is a technique, a wonderful technique that is used for detection of antibodies. We use this ELISA technique for detection of many diseases which are very hard to identify. So, that is one of, so these are some of the model questions that are given in the for the 10th unit syllabus.
Yes,
so,
Aparna.
at the last,
yes, Aparna, I think we have covered almost all the 10 units.
Yes, ma'am.
If your preparation is good, I am sure you will come out with the flying colors. I am sure this live session is very, very useful to you, and we have done our level best to convey the content to you and also given some tips for your preparation through this TSAT channel. Wish you all the best, dear aspirants. I am sure if you are preparing and you are devoting some time for your preparation, I am sure you will come out with the flying colors. Wish you all the best. We will see you with a new topic tomorrow.
Yeah. Good luck to all the people who are writing the exam, and I wish you all should come out with flying colors. A very happy learning and best of luck to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.